Hey, oh my goodness. All right. I am going to go live on Facebook and LinkedIn right quick, as we say in the South. So we're going live over here. I want to talk with you today about how to have a financial quantum leap in your life. And hey, Abby, oh, so good to have you joining. So we're talking about how to have a financial quantum leap. I will say I'm excited about this because I used to see stuff happening for other people and think like, oh, it can never happen for me. And I had so much just money crap in terms of my mindset for so many years that I feel like I've figured out and learned some things that have really helped, and I want to share it. I want to share it with you today. So a couple of housekeeping items. As you come in, I would love to hear your questions. What are your questions about how to have a financial quantum leap? What's getting in your way right now in terms of making money or sales? I would love for this to be interactive. I will give a heads up on Facebook and LinkedIn. I can't see your comments coming in real time, so I would love if you DM me and just share whatever your questions are, whatever your biggest takeaways are. I wish I could see comments in real time, but that's just, not how some of these streaming services work. So, hey Sierra, how are you? Oh my gosh, my girls are hopping on. I love it, I love it, I love it. Yeah, and invite your girlfriends too. Like if you guys have other women who are looking to make more money, make a financial quantum leap, everything changes when women make more money. And I will say, this is for both women and men. All are welcome here. There is zero exclusion. Everyone is welcome here. So invite your girlfriends, invite your man friends. Oh, Chloe came in. Hey, Chloe, I'm so glad you're here. So let's get into it. And I want to take you back. Some of you have seen the masterclass already, so I'm going to reference parts of it, but I'm also going to share with you some of what has happened after that masterclass, so you guys can kind of get up to speed. So, oh my goodness, Tanya's coming in. I love it. I love it. So in November of 2020, a coach I was working with at the time had me do this exercise called Your 5 Dream Lives. And some of you who have worked with me now have done that, and you know what this is. But I did this exercise at a time where I was at a really good place in my life, and Jack, our son, was 4 months old, and I was kind of coasting financially. Like I was making good money and not really struggling for anything. And I was kind of in the space of like, oh, I'm just going to enjoy being a mom and take my foot off the gas a little bit and just rest and relax and really anchor into, kind of like part-time work and relaxing. And well, I thought being a mom would be relaxing. It was not. It was not relaxing, but I was like, I'm just going to prioritize being a mom and not really push myself for a while. Helen, hey girl, I'm so glad you're here. Y'all, Helen is my financial advisor. She's amazing, so you guys should connect with her. But she had me do this exercise called Your 5 Dream Lives. And the premise behind it was basically, if you could create, sorry, my coffee cup looks gross. I have cinnamon in it. If you could create any dream reality of yours, whether it's like a dream life from childhood, like something you wanted to be when you were a kid, or just anything now, if there were no like consequences or limitations, what would those be? And I did this exercise, and the things that came up for me, I was almost like afraid to vocalize because it sounded way too big for me. And it was stuff like be a feminine media mogul, be a philanthropist. I wanted to create a sanctuary where abused animals could come and heal, and that would also invite people who have struggled with addiction issues to come heal, because addiction's been a part of my family history, something I used to struggle with too. And oh, hey Mary, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. And so it was stuff like that. It was like become an advocate for women's and children's rights, and you pay for my husband's medical school. He's going to school next year, and be a world famous singer and have a 7-figure business. And all this stuff came up. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, sometimes when I've thought about my vision for the future, I've had a tendency to like push it off and say, well, that could happen down the road, or that could happen for somebody else, but it couldn't happen for me or not right now. Type in the comments. I'm just curious, for those of you who are live, do you ever do that with your dreams? You're like, well, maybe down the road or maybe in the future, but not right now. Yeah, I see Mary saying, yeah, she's done that. And I realized, so I looked at these dreams, and first of all, I realized how much money they required. And I'll be honest, like this whole concept, and even sharing, what for me has been a financial win in the past week, like it's really pushed my edge and it's felt uncomfortable. And I questioned, like, do I even share this? I think we get kind of weird about sharing money and we get all caught up in our head about it. But part of what I'm so committed to is helping women make more money. And so if I'm not sharing how that's happening for me, I'm not really serving you, right? So I looked at these and I saw how many of them, how much money they required. And I, on average, like I'll just share openly, I'd kind of average like a $10,000 month, maybe 15, maybe 20, over the course of the years of being an entrepreneur. And that was like a comfortable income to take care of my family and to live a comfortable life, right? But I was looking at these dreams and I was like, okay, med school's $200,000. The sanctuary is probably gonna be millions of dollars. And this stuff required real money. And I remember, I shared this with the women in the masterclass I did last week. Like, one of the dreams, like I said, was to become more of like a policy mover and shaker and an advocate for animals and children's rights. And I just started looking up other women who were doing stuff like that. And frankly, a lot of them were younger than me. And it kind of hit me and I was like, what am I waiting for? Like, who am I waiting to give me permission? Or at what age is this going to be right for me to do? You know, have you guys ever kind of had that moment where you're like, why was I giving my power away? Like, who was I waiting to tell me I could do this? And it hit me like a slap across the face. And what I saw in that moment was how much I've been giving my power away to other people, or thinking that it was going to be somebody else's job to do my work in the world. Like, somebody else will go create that sanctuary. Somebody else will, raise a bunch of money for this animal rescue I care about, or, worst case, we'll just get a loan for his meds and stuff like that. And I was like, my mindset unintentionally was giving my power away to other people and not embracing the fact that I am in control of every outcome in my life, and everything that I've created I have created it. Everything in my life I've created. And if I want something more, or I want to be more impactful, I have to be the one to make the decision to do that. And so it was this moment of realizing, like, oh my God, there are other women who are just like me, a lot of them way less fortunate, who are doing incredible, powerful, profound work in the world. And it was like, it is time to step up. It is time to step up. Mary is saying, I feel like I've wasted 45 years of my life. Oh, girl. Well, first of all, and you're always so honest, and Ron, I adore that about you. It's never a waste, right? It's never a waste. And that has also been something I've had to learn, is like, you're in the perfect place that you are. You're exactly where you're meant to be. When I turned 35 last year, I was like, I started to feel like, man, I'm not in my 20s anymore. And I saw all these kids in their 20s doing these big things. And I thought, is it too late? That's another way of taking yourself out of the game. And it's actually, I was playing small when I started thinking like that, because it was a way of discrediting and disqualifying myself so I wouldn't have to really go for it. It's never too late. It is never too late. Awesome. Oh, hey, Nicole, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. Defeating thought, now I am too old. Yeah, gosh. And it's not true. It's not true at all. Like, when you look at people who have done incredible things, I mean, I don't know why this example is popping into my mind, but Louise Hay, she's someone I follow that I think a lot of the women in my community follow and enjoy as well. And I don't think she started writing until she was, in her 60s, 50s? I don't know. There's so many examples of people who have done amazing things in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So it's always just a limiting belief and an excuse. But so that really hit me, and I just realized, like, it was time to make a decision to stop playing small in every area of my life. And every area included my finances, because I was super comfortable. Like I said, I was comfortable. I had enough money coming in to sustain our lifestyle. It wasn't, and I was grateful, and I am grateful for that amount of money. I know everything is relative. So some people that's not any money at all. Some people that's a lot of money, right? It's all relative. But I realized that for me, I was playing small and I was playing safe. And that if I was going to actually make the changes that I said I wanted to make, it was going to require stepping out in a radically different way and getting way out of my comfort zone. And so I decided to do that. And I will say too, like, this came at an inconvenient time in my life. I mean, it felt inconvenient. Jack was 4 months. I was enjoying being a mom. I was still kind of recovering mentally, physically, emotionally from giving birth. And but I could not ignore this call that came to me to step up in a bigger way. And when this call came and I decided not to just dismiss it, but actually to start wondering like, oh, how could this happen? I started getting inklings and downloads of the next step and the next step and the next step. And something I teach my clients to do, because it's been so transformational in my life, is how to really tap into your own intuition. Because for so many years I was so disconnected from that, because I'd really disconnected from my body. I disconnected from being a woman. I didn't feel safe or comfortable like that. And so I've done a lot of healing work on that. And as a result, now I have pretty strong intuition that'll guide me to tell me what the right next step is. So I was getting these nudges to act on things now and to take action on things now. Hey, Jennifer, how are you? I'm glad you're here. And one of the nudges that I got was to hire this particular woman as a coach. And it was interesting because she wasn't someone who I'd been like a super fan of for a long time. And I'd followed her podcast kind of loosely, and I always liked her brand. But it was never like, I wasn't like dying for her next episode to come out or hanging on her every word of her Instagram lives. In fact, some of the stuff she did triggered me, frankly. Some of it, I was like, she's so darn confident promoting herself. Like, who is she to have the right to do that, right? Like, my small thinking was triggering me when I saw her doing that. But I got this nudge to hire her, and the nudge was to hire her as a private coach. And I knew the clout of this woman's brand, and I knew immediately that it wasn't going to be cheap. But I thought, you know what, I'll just trust and follow the nudges here and follow my instincts. And so I did, and sure enough, of course, like 2 days after that, she just happened to mention in the intro of a podcast that she was doing, that she had 2 one-on-one spots open for private coaching. And I was like, oh, what the hell, I'll apply. So I go ahead and apply, and I got on a discovery call with her. And as we were talking, it was like, yes, this is it. I need to work with her. And then I hear that the price is $50,000 for 6 months. Now, I did not, I don't know about you, but I did not have $50,000 sitting around for coaching in my coaching fund. In fact, I thought I was going to take a break from coaching for a while, and I was honestly kind of relieved. I was like, I've invested, because I usually invest like tens of thousands of dollars in coaching every year because I genuinely believe in it and it stretches me and it's been really good for me. But I was ready to take a break. I really was. And, but this nudge was so strong to work with her that I stopped questioning it and I started looking for how. And I think that's one big thing that you can hopefully take away is like, when you get that instinct and you make a decision to go for it, stop questioning whether you should do it or not and start looking for how. And this was something that really was very healing to me because I've had a pretty insecure relationship with money for a lot of my life. And money, we just have to realize money is root chakra energy. So whatever the challenges were that you had with your parents growing up will typically play out later in your relationships with money and in your relationships with your partner, spouse, your love life, etc. So if you have, oh, hey, Makia, how are you? Howard, thank you so much. Hey, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I'm so glad you're here. Hello, welcome. And two, like, drop your questions in the chat for you guys who are joining now. If you have questions on how to make a financial quantum leap, I'll share with you my own personal story. That's a lot of what today is about, but I'd love to help answer your questions. Where was I? I had a lot of scarcity mindset around money for a long time, and it was tied to growing up and feeling insecurity in our household and feeling like I wasn't in control of a lot of things that I wanted to be in control of, and that then came and later played out in my relationship with money. So my personal money story was I knew how to make decent money. Like I would hit 6 figures no matter what, because that was kind of like my bare minimum for what I wanted to make in my business. But I would always be in so much fear that it was going to go away. I would be in so much fear that I was going to lose clients. I would have just anxiety and panic attacks about like doing the wrong thing with money. I don't know if you guys can relate to this at all, but I had a real tumultuous relationship with money. And so part of what happened with this experience was I learned to really create my own money rules. And that's a big message I want to share with you is thinking for yourself. thinking for yourself. And just because your parents had certain money rules, just because somebody wrote a book that is giving you certain money rules, it doesn't mean they have to be yours. It's your life. You get to choose how to run and operate your life, and that includes your money. And so as I was looking at how to make this investment with her, it was almost like I was discrediting the fact that I had this money in savings, or that I could put some money on a credit card, or that I could also sell some clients to get the money. And when I got out of my kind of like emotional, oh my God, am I worthy of this? Can I make this investment? Like, who am I to invest this much money in myself? And just started looking at the how, I realized it was actually quite practical to get the money to do this. And so I made the deposit. And I made the deposit to work with her. I made the investment. And if you guys want to see that moment, I actually did an Instagram live on, December 26th. It was the morning, it was like right after I had made that deposit to work with her. And it was a $20,000 deposit. And it was like the biggest chunk of money I'd ever put on my credit card. And I felt really good because I had made a decision. And I was also petrified. I was like, oh my God, I just did something that defies everything that my parents told me to do in terms of what's responsible with money. I just did something that is a way bigger investment than I've ever made in one time, and coaching for myself. And I had no idea how the money was going to come in. I had no idea how it was going to happen. I just knew that I had made the decision that I was going to hit 7 figures in my business, that I was going to be able to create the life for my family that I've been saying I want for a long time, but haven't actually gone for. And that I just knew it was going to happen. I didn't know how yet. And that's another thing. You don't have to know the how. It will come to you when you make a decision in favor of your goals and in alignment with your next level. The how will come to you, but it's usually not going to be there when you make that decision. And that's part of the leap, right? That's part of the leap. That's part of releasing some control. And for those of us who are control freaks, like I was a control freak for a lot of my life, over like, I have to know the outcome and I have to know how it's all going to come together. You don't. Because when you trust that things are always working out for you, and that the universe, God, whatever your language is, has your best interest at heart, it's going to come to you way better than you could have imagined. Your only job, I learned this from my friend Allison Chavez, she's amazing, is like, follow the nudges. Listen to what you're being told. Listen to what your intuition is telling you. Listen to that little voice in your head of take this step, then take that step, then take this step, and it'll always unfold. The how always comes afterwards. But go back, if you want to watch and see me like right after that, go back and watch that video after this live, because it was like makeupless, crying, super emotional, and so you can kind of see in real time what that looks like. So I made the investment, and one of the things that helped me make that investment was remembering a time in my life where I'd been really scared to do something, but I took action and something incredible happened on the other side. And so for me, that time was when I was 27 years old, and I was in a really bad marriage. I'd gotten married to a guy who I knew wasn't good for me, but I had such low self-esteem that I couldn't call it off before. I didn't call it off before we got married, even though I knew I wanted to. And it was a really, really unhealthy relationship in a lot of ways. And I remember, so I was married to him for like 12 months, and I was in so much depression and so much anxiety and crying, and it was like my life was just a wreck. Like on the outside, I kind of looked like I had it together, but in reality, it was kind of a wreck. And 28's always been a special number to me. I was born on the 28th. 28 has always been a really cool number. Cool things happen for me on the 28th. My son was born on the 28th. And I remember I was about to turn 28, and I was like, I am not available for my 28th year on this planet, my 128th year, to suck. I'm just not. And I reached a point, thank you for the hearts. Yeah, I reached a point where it was like, I don't know what's on the other side of this. I'm so afraid to get a divorce. I'm so afraid of the judgment. I'm so afraid of what people are going to think of me being 27 years old and divorced. But it can't be as bad as this. And so I'm willing to take that risk to see what's on the other side. And so I did. And 6 months to the day of my 28th birthday, So April 28th then, my birthday's October 28th. So I made the decision, asked for a divorce, turned 28 shortly after. And then on April 28th of the following year, I met my husband, Jason. And I was not looking to meet him. I was not a plan. I was at a networking event and I was talking to this guy, and within 3 minutes I knew he was my soulmate. I just knew. And had I not made that move to get that divorce and stop worrying so much about what other people thought and actually listen to my own intuition and choose myself instead of choosing what I thought would make everyone else like me, I would not have met Jason, and we would not have our son, Jack. And so, and it almost it makes me want to cry every time I think about it, because it's true. So whatever that thing is in your life that you're scared to do, I would encourage you to look back at another time in your life where you've done something that really scared you, that felt so wildly out of your comfort zone, but you did it, and what good came on the other side of it? What happened for you on the other side? That's always how it works. We never see the full picture. We never see the full picture, but what you want is always on the other side of what you're afraid of. That's just how it works. So I took that leap. And so kind of coming back to investing in this coach, part of why I did it too was that the dollar amount, the reason why I'm sharing the dollar amount, because for some people that would be a lot of money for coaching. For other people, they're like, I do that every year or more. For me, it stretched me enough that I knew to even be able to pay back that $50,000 for a coach, I was going to have to become a whole nother level of a woman that I was showing up as in my life at the time. Because there were areas where I knew I was playing small. There were areas where I would see, how confidently some people promoted themselves on social media, and I'd be like, meh, it's for them, but not for me. Or I would see people really going for it and showing up and being visible and launching cool programs. And I'd be like, I'm comfortable. I don't need to do that right now. And I knew to be able to even just make the money back for the coaching, I was going to have to transform into the type of woman who actually I knew would then have a 7-figure business and would create the things that she wants in her life and would do the things that showed up in my Dream Lives exercise. And it put me in a different energy. It was almost like it didn't matter the coaching that I got from this woman. Not that it didn't matter. She's great. I love working with her, but it almost didn't matter. It was more just me deciding that I was worth that much, and that I was the type of woman who knows how to create the money to pay for that level of coaching, and that I could do it, and I could do it easily, and I wasn't available for it to be a challenge or a struggle. That was a big mindset leap. And I knew, like I said, it was going to require me doing things that were really scary. And I remember one of the things she said to me on our discovery call, because one of my dream lives was to be a singer. And I said that, and I wanted to do that. But with that being said, I hadn't sang publicly. At that point, I hadn't sang publicly for, over a decade. Because the last time I sang publicly, I had lost my virginity in a really traumatic way the night before. And I was in a choir performance the next morning, and I had a solo, and I botched it. I was so embarrassed. My dad and my new stepmom were in the audience at the time, and I could just see the looks on their faces of just ugh, and it was so much shame, right? Imagine you're on stage, you're in front of this crowd of people, and I was already kind of reeling emotionally from what had happened the night before. And then that happens, and it was just so much shame. So I had a lot of trauma around that. And I didn't bring that up with my coach, but I just brought up the dream life with her. And she was like, oh my gosh, you could crush it on TikTok. I think you should sing on TikTok. It would be great. And that felt so uncomfortable to me. When she said to do that, I was like, oh, I can never do that. That would be so pushing my edge. But the moment that I made that decision to go for my dreams, and actually the same day I put that deposit on the coaching with her, it was such a level of commitment in my life to getting rid of every possible excuse that could hold me back, that I was like, what has she already said to do? Before I even get on my first call with her, I'm going to do everything she said to do. One of the things was to go sing on TikTok. And so wouldn't you know, your girl who'd been so making fun of people dancing on TikTok went and created a TikTok account. I honestly haven't even been back to it since I created it, because I feel like I blacked out. When I did a lot of this, I created it, I sang a song, and I ghosted it. I was like, I'm not looking at it. don't even want to like acknowledge that I just did that, but I did it. And it was so freeing and so liberating to be like, I did the thing that just terrified me and I didn't die. And this thing that I've allowed to have control over me for so long no longer owns me. I now own it. I am in charge of this thing in my life. I get to decide what meaning I give it and whether I'm going to let it be something that fuels me and empowers me, or whether I'm going to let it be something that holds me back. So that started to shift really, really fast for me. Just kind of that mindset of, it was almost like when you make an investment that big, it was like a veil was lifted, because I had decided that I was worthy of investing $50,000 in coaching for myself. And suddenly I was tasked with the responsibility of bringing that money back into our family, and to making more than that, of course, to make it work. And it was almost like this veil was lifted, and suddenly my mind started thinking differently about everything. You know, I have some sticky notes on my computer that are like, I'm a 7-figure mompreneur. How does she think? What does she do? What is she doing in this moment? And I started shifting into that identity. And when I started making that shift into that identity, there were these, it was almost effortless, like new ideas, new resources, new connections started popping in. I mentioned earlier, one of my dream lives was to create a sanctuary for animals, and then also that could bring in people who are healing from addiction. And I immediately got connected with a woman who's creating that already, and I'm going to help support her in doing that. The idea for this program that I'm now launching on Monday came in through a combination of working with my coach and talking with some girlfriends who were also going for 7 figures this year. And it was like everything started to drop in. I want to just take a moment. So if you all are joining on Facebook or LinkedIn, I'm so glad you're here. I can't see you, but I know you're here, and I'm so glad. Send me a DM and let me know that you're on. Let me know what your biggest takeaway has been. And I see Drew is here. Oh my gosh, Drew, I'm so glad you're here. You're our honorary man who's joining. I love you. I'm so glad you're joining. Elizabeth is here. Hey, Elizabeth, I'm so glad you're here. Drop your questions in the comments about how to create a financial quantum leap, because I want to help support you in that if that's one of your goals right now. So drop your questions in the comments. Now, here is the other thing I'll say with all of this. So this all happened at the very end of 2020, So not even like, what is that, 6 weeks, about 6 weeks ago. This wasn't without challenges. And I knew in doing this, I knew in making this investment and stepping up, that it was going to bring up all of my money demons that had been holding me back in different areas of my life. And that's actually part of why I did it, because I know that every result I have in my life and every result you have in your life, it's just a result of the way that you're thinking about it. It's just a result of your belief systems and your mindset. And I was really ready to release those limiting beliefs around money that had held me back. And so it did bring up all of my money demons about like, you got to be responsible with your money, and oh my God, your parents would never spend this much money on coaching. And I would literally like, I love my dad, but I would hear his voice in my head like, what did you do? Oh my God, this is a scam. Why did you spend this much money on coaching? Blah, blah, blah. I love my dad dearly, but I personally believe we choose our parents, and they are there to sometimes provide contrast of the belief systems that we're actually meant to develop over our lives. And they're these beautiful angels who love us enough to help us come in and see that contrast. And I saw that contrast through my parents, and it helped me really create my own set of belief systems. But I think when those limiting beliefs come up, they're coming up to be dissolved. And that's the beautiful thing about it. So when they come up, don't be scared. Actually get excited and embrace it and be like, oh, here you are, limiting belief. Tell me about yourself. What are you... Why are you here? Where did you come from? Where did I learn this from? Because your limiting beliefs are usually created in the first 7 years of your life from hearing things or being told things by the people who were raising you, whether your parents or just significant caregivers. And a lot of these things are passed down generationally too. They're not actually true. They're just things that you're hearing from other people, and you get to create your own beliefs. That's a big piece of this. So it brought up the money demons, but I was, I do a lot of limiting belief rewiring work with my clients, and so I knew how to do it on myself. And in a couple of weeks, those were pretty much gone. I did have moments of panic because what I was doing defied everything about what I'd been taught was responsible with money. And I also did things that terrified me. So I will say, like, I did things I had a lot of resistance around, such as singing publicly, such as starting to do Instagram reels. I was like, I'm not going to dance in point. I think that's silly. And my coach was like, you really need to start doing Instagram reels. They're actually really critical for your success right now. And I was like, okay, here we go. I'm doing an Instagram reel. So I got over that hump. Reaching out for collaborations with a lot of other women. I think a lot of women who I work with say they can relate to this, but I had a limiting belief for many years of my life around doing things with other women or collaborating, or that other women weren't going to want to work with me. And I don't know if you guys can relate to that or not, but part of how you up level is you do it with other people, and you bring other people along for the ride, and you also are okay asking for help and support from other people. And so I did that, and I got way out of my comfort zone and reached out to some very high profile girlfriends who helped me and helped promote what I was doing, and drove a lot of traffic and awareness for it as well. I started to host clubhouse rooms. I also got crystal clear on what was a yes for me and what was a no for me to reach that next level. So I was very clear that the way I wanted to bring in this next amount of money was through my own program. Chloe saying, yeah, you've had that limiting belief too. Yeah, it's a real thing with women, right? But we have to collaborate. Like, that's how it actually all works. And it's freeing when you realize how much other people and women really love you and want to help you and support you. And I said no to a lot of things I would normally have said yes to. So I knew that the next level for me with my own business was really going all in on she sells and partnering with women who want to make 6 figures plus, but do it in a way that's fun and aligned with how they're naturally wired. And so I would get opportunities from other revenue streams of mine that would have been total yeses for me before and super enjoyable. But I said no to them. And keep in mind, I've got this $50,000 bill that I've got to pay, and I've got these opportunities for money coming in that I could have used right away to pay it, but it would have taken me away time-wise. It was a lot of like heavy delivery and service work with clients in revenue streams that I'm not interested in growing right now. And I said no to those things because I had the faith and the trust that my intuition was guiding me in the right direction, which was to create this new program, 10K Club, and that even though I hadn't opened it yet and hadn't launched it yet, that was how I was meant to bring in this next amount of money. And so I said no to stuff, and I really honored my time and honored what my intuition was telling me. But here's the key, and so I'm going to talk about manifestation for a moment. And this is really important because I used to think this stuff didn't matter. So manifestation is really just you creating in your life, and we're always manifesting. Everything in your life right now that you have, you've manifested, whether it was intentionally or not. Here is how you do it intentionally, and here's how I was able to bring in $60,000 in 5 days through this process, okay? I stayed in the vibration of what I wanted. And this is the part that can kind of trip people up. And so we're going to do high level here. I'm doing a deep dive with my ladies in this program to help them do it. But I stayed in the vibration of what I wanted, which was to have a 7-figure business, which is like $80,000, $83,000 months. And that was despite all my circumstances telling me that wasn't there yet. But every morning, actually, I'm going to tell you the how in a minute of how to do that. But I got to a place of where the limiting beliefs and fears had mostly dissipated and dissolved. And I started to feel this like sense of just calm and peace. And for someone who used to live in a lot of anxiety, that was pretty profound because I thought that was just how you had to live to be successful. And I felt this new sense of calm and peace because in my mind, I was already living in the place where I'd already made the money. Like it wasn't a big deal. It was already done. And I started to feel this peace, joy, excitement, love, gratitude like I've never felt before. And it was a totally new state. And this all happened before any of the money came in physically. Okay, so I want you to, that's really important for this. I want to talk for a moment about how energy plays into this, because this is really important. So Albert Einstein said, everything is energy and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. So I want to say that again, because I think we get tripped up in like, oh, this stuff is woo. It's not, it's just science. It's actually just science. So according to Albert Einstein, Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. That is it. And the thing that trips us up is we say, well, I want $100,000, or in my business this year, I want a certain home, or I want to be a philanthropist or whatever. But then we stop ourselves and we say, well, that's not what's happening for me right now. Like, I look at my current circumstances and I didn't make a lot of money last year, or I'm struggling to get new clients, or I feel really stuck. And you have to remember, your current circumstances are just a result of your old thinking. That's it. But we live, this is something that, again, I mentioned my girlfriend, Allison Chavez, like, check her out, because a lot of this mindset work, I really learned from her, and she is so brilliant at this. So one of the things that she teaches is we live in lag time. And that's true, we live in time lag. So it takes a while. Like, it's not, you have this vision for, I'm going to have $1 million business. If we didn't live in time lag, you would have the idea and then you'd immediately have it. But that's not how it works. So everything in your current circumstances are a result of your thinking and actions from a couple days to a couple months ago, right? It's hopefully making sense, right? If we just think about it logically, of course, everything is a result of what we did a few days or weeks ago, or months or years ago even. So when you decide to do something different, you're going to change your inner state before you change your outer state. Everything has a vibration to it. Again, everything is energy. Remember what Einstein said, everything is energy, which energy is just vibration. Everything has a vibration to it. So when you want to bring in more money, that's a higher vibration than the amount of money you're bringing in right now. Your emotions and your feelings are your vibration. You are sending a signal out to the universe. We live in a vibrational universe, right? And every feeling that you have, you're actually sending a signal out to the universe to bring back. The universe is going to match back to you that level of signal and vibration and energy. I hope this is making sense. So if you want to up level the amount of money you're bringing in, you have to up level your vibration. And so what that looks like is starting to feel and get excited about that, whatever it would feel like to have that amount of money before it's actually come in. Is this making sense? Let me know in the comments, like, give me some hearts if this is making sense to you guys. But you have to know we live in time lag again. So when you make that decision, it's just like if any of you are gardeners, when you plant a tomato seed, I was giving this analogy to a client earlier today. When you plant a tomato seed, do you go into panic about whether a tomato is going to come up in a couple weeks? Do you start freaking out like, oh my God, what if it's corn? What if it's nightshade? What if it doesn't come? You start pulling it up and checking on it to make sure it's okay? No. What do? You plant it, and then you water it, and you make sure the soil is fertile, and you just trust and believe that as long as you do those things, that tomato's coming. And that's how it works. And that's actually how it works with everything you want in your life. That is exactly how it works. Abby's saying it can be hard to imagine when you've never seen it. Yeah. So one of the things, because Abby, you're in this program we're doing, so one of the things I'm going to work with you on doing is just starting to really use your imagination and have fun with it. And I will tell you guys, like, I was doing a daily meditation when I'd made this investment and the money hadn't come back in yet. I was doing a daily meditation. I'm a huge Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation fan. So if you guys are looking for a great, he talks about the quantum physics of this. He gets really deep into the science. I totally geek out on it. He's got some incredible meditations, but I used to really trip myself up on the how and this isn't here yet in my life, so I'm fooling myself and yada, yada. And that's not how it works. What I learned to do was trust that when I plant that seed, it's coming. My only job is to stay in gratitude. My only job is to stay in gratitude and excitement and know that it's coming and listen for those nudges that I'm receiving from God and the universe to guide me to the next right step in action to take to actually create that, right? It's like watering the plant. That's it. And so when I was doing these daily meditations, I would visualize and I would give myself permission to just have fun with it and to just go to this place in my mind where I had already made the money. And part of the vision for me too was being able to help my husband go part-time at work. That's been something that we've both been talking about for a while. And I would visualize telling him, baby, you can go part-time now and you can tell your boss. And I would visualize with this program, women signing up, and I would see them believing in themselves. And I would see them raising their hand and saying yes. And saying yes to themselves and their dreams and their desires. And I would literally cry tears of gratitude in the morning because I would feel it so strongly for a reality that hadn't come in yet, not physically at least. We create everything twice. You create it first in your mind and then you create it in the physical plane. And so in my mind, I was creating this experience that I hadn't had yet, but that's actually how it works. The universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. So whatever your vibration you're putting out, it has no choice. It has to come back to you at that level. So I was experiencing this profound level of gratitude for something that hadn't happened yet, but I was living it out in my mind. And I started to feel just so excited and not worried about when and how it was going to come in. You know, I'd been given the vision for this program, but I was also really at peace that I was going to follow every nudge about this program. I was going to launch it. I was going to go all in with it. And if it flopped and if it wasn't what people wanted, I knew the money was going to come in another way. So I wasn't worried about it. My only job was to just follow the nudges, and then know that what I wanted was going to come in some way, somehow. The other thing, and this is big, is you have to feel worthy of the amount of money you want. And this is a big one, especially for us women, right? And this is something I hear a lot from the women I work with. Like, I don't actually feel worthy of having that amount of money. And I didn't for so long. Whatever you have in your life, that's what you feel worthy of right now. So whatever amount of money you're making, whatever type of house you live in, whatever relationship situation you've got going on, that is what you feel worthy of. This is something Dr. Joe Dispenza says. He says, the universe will only give you what you feel you are worthy of. And so I started really up-leveling my level of worth around being able to make the amount of money I wanted and being a woman who easily makes 7+ figures. And it's like, I deserve that. And that's hard, right? Especially like I come from some Southern Baptist conditioning where we sing songs about I'm not worthy and blah, blah, blah. And that was hard for me at first to really step into actually being able to say, like, I am worthy of this and I deserve this and I claim it for myself. But the universe will only give you what you think you are worthy of. That's its job. It's not punishing you. It's not bad. It's just whatever that signal is that you're sending out that you are worthy of, you're going to get it right back. Okay? That's how it works. So I started really working on my self-worth. Part of that was being extremely mindful of my language and my self-talk. So I come from an eating disorder background. I was anorexic in my teens, and then I went into binge eating in my 20s. So I had a long history of being very critical of how I looked. And my default for so many years was to walk by and see myself in a mirror and check to see if my stomach looked fat. That was what I would look for. And that was like my conditioning. And I had to stop myself from that and shift it. And it wasn't like immediate, but it was a conscious choice. Every time I saw myself in a mirror, I started to compliment myself. I started to tell myself that I looked great. I started to tell myself how good my body looked. And keep in mind, this is 4 months after a baby. Like it's not the most rockin'. Actually, I love it more than ever, but there's some National Geographic stuff going on. Like, I'm just gonna call it. My mamas know what I'm talking about. So I learned I can't believe I'm saying this on LinkedIn. Here we go. You know, this is part of achieving your next level is you bare your soul. So where was I? I would compliment myself and my National Geographic body. Drew is laughing. You can appreciate my sense of humor, Drew. I wouldn't verbalize anything negative. And this is so critical, guys. So what you have to understand is whatever you're describing, you're prescribing. So you think you're just describing your current situation of being tired or not having enough money, and you say, I don't have enough money right now, or I'm tired. Whatever follows the words I am, it is a command to your subconscious to create that reality for you. So if you say I am tired, your subconscious takes that as a command. It doesn't filter whether it's in your best interest or not. It's like, oh, you're tired? Okay, here you go. Oh, you don't have enough money? Okay, here you go. So I would want to complain to my husband about something going on in my life, but I would actually physically stop myself mid-sentence when I went to say something negative, because I didn't want to give that as a command to my subconscious. And so I literally had to cut off all negativity, complaining, just talking about what was going on in my life that wasn't working well. I cut it all off. I also started telling myself constantly what a good job I was doing. And that did not come naturally to me. That felt hard, to praise myself. Like, I didn't see my parents doing that. I didn't see my mom doing that. I saw a lot of my family, and my mom specifically, like, being hard on herself and beating herself up. And so I learned that habit from her. And I love her dearly, right? She learned it from her mom. Like, we learn it from the people who raise us. But I knew that wasn't helpful to me achieving these goals. So I would start to tell myself constantly what a good job I was doing. And it was like, oh, you did such a good job there. Ooh, you really stretched with that video. Good job on that reel. You put yourself out of your comfort zone. That was awesome. And it's like, it wouldn't be the most mind-blowing stuff that I had just done or created, or the most mind-blowing post ever, but I was complimenting myself and praising myself and like cheerleading myself on, like, yes, you've got this, you've got this. Sierra's saying you want to work on, you're going to work on your self-talk in front of the mirror. Yes, it's big. It's just a decision. It'll become easy for you. It will. But it's important, right? Because that's your self-worth. Whatever you tell yourself about yourself, that's your level of self-worth. That's what you're going to get back. That's how it works. The other thing I did, I've just got some notes on like how this happened. I loosened my grip some on how the money was supposed to come in. So like I mentioned before, I had a vision and a sense that it was supposed to come in through this new program, the 10K Club, that if you've seen me on social, you see me talking about it a lot. And I went all in on that. Like, I promoted it heavily. I got out of my comfort zone with being more visible in promoting that. But I also really trusted that if I did everything I needed to do for that, and for some reason it flopped, then it just wasn't, the money was going to come in just in a different way. So you can be really attached to the what, but not the how. So you can be really attached to, I'm going to have a 10K month. I'm going to have a 7-figure business. I'm going to get in Oprah, magazine. You can be really attached to that, but you can't be attached to how it happens. So money will come in through different channels that maybe you hadn't expected, but your job is to stay in alignment vibrationally with the thing you want and express extreme gratitude for it before it ever comes in. And in an unattached way. What'll happen throughout this experience is you'll get so darn happy and so appreciative of just your life as it is right now, that when it comes, it'll be like, oh, that's cool. I'm already so happy. You have to realize everything you want is because you think it's going to make you feel a different way. The reason you want more money is because you think you're going to feel freedom, expansion, abundance, the ability to do whatever you want. Everything you do is just for a feeling. So the trick is to feel that first before the thing comes in, and then it has no choice but to come in for you. I hope that's making sense. So that's it. That is it. But then you take action, right? And a lot of this for me was taking messy action. I would get the instinct, reach out to this person, make a call to that person, do this post. And it pushed my edge. Like, a lot of it pushed my edge. But I did it. And I followed the nudges and the instincts. And kind of like the punchline of this story, when I did the masterclass last week, introducing this program, $60,000 came in 5 days. And that was two of those days were weekends, were Saturday and Sunday. So I wasn't even really working. So it was really kind of like 3 days. And that's how it works. And it was easy, and it was fun, and it was joy-filled, and it was almost effortless. And I say effortless, like there was obviously work involved in it, but it was because I figured out how to get in alignment with the future self, the woman who has the things I wanted to create. And then it was just a matter of listening to the nudges and receiving those things and being willing and open to receive every good thing that the universe was going to give me. So some themes, and then I want to answer questions if you all have any questions. Number one, it's a decision. It is a decision. Whatever the thing is that you want, it is literally just a decision away. Decision in Latin means to cut. So it means to cut off all ties, to cut. It's kind of like burn the boats type of thing. For me, when I made that decision to go for the 7 figures, invest in coaching at this level, and I put that money on my credit card, that was a decision. It was done. I then stepped out of the like wobble of, oh my God, should I do this? Should I not? And I was suddenly like, okay, how am I going to make this work? And that's when that next level of thinking opens up. Second takeaway, I want you to know that your mindset and the vibration that you put out create your reality. Everything in your reality is your creation, okay? And it's not to say that there aren't terrible things that happen and things that throw us that happen and challenges that happen, and what the mindset you want to have with it, because that's just life. Like, life will bring you challenges, but you don't have to suffer through it. So I've mentioned my girlfriend Allison a lot on this, and I'll bring her up again because I always want to give credit to my mentors and where I learn stuff. She says the challenge in life is not optional, but the suffering is. So you'll get challenges. That's how you grow. That's life. That's actually the beautiful part of life. But if you make a decision to stay in a suffering state of blame, guilt, remorse, victimhood, that's on you. That is on you. And so this is a lot about just claiming responsibility over everything happening in your world and how you're going to show up for what's happening in your world, regardless of what it is. Third key takeaway, to get to your next level, you're probably going to have to do things that terrify you. Investing the money, singing publicly, putting myself out there on social media has all really stretched me in a great way, because when you're stretched, that's your growth, right? You're then growing into your next level. And this stuff now feels pretty easy for me because I've done it. But before you've done it for the first time, it's going to feel stretchy, and that's okay. Your next step is always going to feel stretchy. That's how you know it's a good fit for you. One of my mentors always said, like, if investing in a certain thing, like I'm in coaching, so I'll just reference coaching. If investing in coaching, if the amount is easy for you, it's probably not the right program for you. It really, to get the result out of it, it needs to stretch you. Drew's saying we'll be checking your reels immediately after this live. Yeah, I mean, look, they're a work in progress. I will say that, but it's been fun. And, I had such a stigma about them, and I've got clients in financial services. They're going to think I'm stupid. They're going to and so it was just, head trash, just mindset stuff. And now that I've done them, of course they're fun. And of course I enjoy them. And of course they generate good engagement, and everything that you hear is true. But honestly, it was my ego. My ego was caught up in I'm not going to look silly, and I'm not going to express that part of myself. And that's actually exactly what people want to see. They want to see who you really are. It doesn't matter if you're in financial services, if you're in whatever, they want to know who you are. Fourth takeaway, believe that everything's always working out for you. When you have that mindset and you stay connected to your vision and you stay feeling worthy of what you want, you're going to be given exactly the steps to take to create what you're desiring in your life. And it's going to be far more impactful than all that busy, mindless kind of natter that you may find yourself giving your time and attention to right now. Fifth and final, trust yourself, trust your intuition. It will guide you to exactly where you need to go, and it usually will not make logical sense. It will often defy everything that you've been taught about what's responsible, about what is smart, it's going to defy it, but and your intuition doesn't scream at you. It's a quiet, still, calm voice that's going to defy most of your conditioning, but it's going to take you in exactly the right direction, and your job is to trust it and take the steps. So with that, I see there's some questions, and I'm going to answer those momentarily. I do also just want to invite you guys, if this is resonating with you and you're like, yes, I need to make these types of shifts in my life. I'm not available to play small anymore. I'm ready to make a decision, to make a big change. 10K Club kicks off on Monday. I would love to have you as part of it if this is feeling like the right fit. I'm taking up to 20 women under my wing for this program I'm keeping it a small group because it's very hands-on for me, energetically, emotionally, helping them with their businesses. So I'm taking this small group of women to help them achieve a 10K plus month in 90 days or less. But really, this personal transformation is more of what it's about. So they're going to learn how to create money easily and quickly, how to step up in their personal power in every area of their life, and really how to just transform themselves from the inside out, kind of like we were talking about today. And so that program starts on Monday. So enrollment closes tomorrow. And if you're interested, if you want to find out more, you can go to ElyseArcher.com/10K Club, and it'll tell you how to apply. Oh, and here's one other thing I'll say. If you're not going for a 10K month, maybe you're below that and you're going for like 5K, or maybe you're above that and I've been talking with a lot of women lately who are going for like 25K or $1 million this year or more. It's still check it out and apply, because if what I've talked about today resonates with you and you're looking to just achieve goals in this way and create financial quantum leaps, whatever that version of it is for you, I think it could be a good fit for you. So check it out. You'll see how to apply. And I just want to open it up. Okay, beautiful. So I have had comments coming in. Oh my gosh, StreamYard is showing me the comments. Beautiful. Okay. I'm just going to see if there's questions in here. You must reveal how you feel to learn, to grow, and heal. Yes, that's beautiful. April saying, I've had my mom putting fear on me for decisions I've made. Fortunately, I didn't listen to her fears. Good for you for doing that. Yes. The fears other people put on us, it's unfortunate, but it's never intentional. It's usually something that they learned from their parents, and it's generational. One of the things that's been very healing through this is talking with my mom and learning she had so many money fears that were so similar to mine that I didn't even know she had. And she'd learned them from her mom. So sometimes those beliefs, like, you have to question everything you believe, and you get to choose your beliefs and your most empowering beliefs for you. I'm seeing in here, yes, I'm really willing to spend money and grow personally, professionally, but I have a hard time knowing what to spend it on that will truly help me grow. Elizabeth shared that. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that's also a limiting belief, right? Like, you actually do know what you need, and you know what the right coaching is for you. You know what the right mentorship program is for you. It's a decision that you actually do know, and then get excited about what that right next move is for you. Thinking I deserve this is a challenge. Chloe's saying, yeah, well, that's, okay. Joe Dispenza, another one of the meditations, the generating abundance meditation, is really good for that. And I think, Chloe, you and I may have a call later so we can kind of talk about that. You do deserve it. You actually are way worthier than any amount of money that exists on this planet. And you've just been conditioned that you aren't, but that's severely limiting you in your life. So when you decide that you do deserve it and you step up and start claiming it for yourself, again, the universe will give you back exactly what you think you deserve. So, all right, my friends, I'm so grateful for everyone who was on here and stayed on. I've got a coaching call at the top of the hour, so I'm going to hop off, but send me a DM with any questions. Again, if you want to apply for 10K Club, ElyseArcher.com/10K Club. I just appreciate you. I love you. Whatever you want, like, make it. It's yours. You can have it. Drew says, does someone need an existing business to apply? Drew, that's a great question. I would need to talk to the person. Some of the people are creating new businesses. Some of them already have an existing one. So if it's someone you're thinking of, like, send me a DM and we can talk in DMs, because the speed with which it happens for you, it's going to vary for every person. A lot of it's your financial frequency where you are right now, and then your readiness and openness to go to a next level. It could absolutely happen in 90 days. I just would want to talk with you and kind of get a sense of where you're at. Thank you guys so much. Oh my goodness. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you for being here, and send me DMs with any questions. Mwah. So much love. Bye guys.